Hey everybody, it is a wonderful day in the Lego hood today, especially down beneath New JANG City in my Minecraft layout, which for the first time ever, I can finally say has reached some level of completion. It's not complete, it's not done. I'm definitely going to continue to work on it over time, continue to change some things, continue to add some things. There are definitely more things that I have planned yet, but all the terrain is there and all the major features are there, and there's nothing that I look at now and have to really explain that one day such and such is going to be there. No, you actually get to see an entire world. Let me first show you the newest part of it with the snowy taiga little biome section. Now, none of the areas in this Minecraft layout are exactly correct to the game, and some things may be based on different versions of the game and such. I've only played on console myself, which is finally starting to catch up to the real version. But you know, it's Lego, and you know, some creative licenses have been taken. Some of them are intentional, some of them are just compromises. But I'm happy with the amount of terrain that I was able to get in here, and I really feel like it gets the feel of this kind of area in here. Now, there is a little bit of kind of a secret built into this. Haven't built a full backstory for it, but there is a minecart track that goes around this entire layout, around the outer periphery of it, or at least about 3/4 of it. And you can see part of it there going over a bridge that has no support under it, because hey, who needs supports? It's Minecraft. You just attach blocks side to side. Well, that ends all the way here. It actually terminates here inside of this new bit of terrain back here. Now the idea is that kind of in-universe, in the Minecraft world, anybody who takes that minecart track back here will just think that maybe whoever was building it just ran out of inspiration or ran out of time and abandoned it. However, the guy who actually built it has a little secret here. If you walk through the waterfall there, and just ignore Snowbaka, who's saying hello to a slightly modified snow golem, but walk through the waterfall, and behind here is a secret entrance to who knows what. Not to the Nether. That's just a separate display that just happens to be adjacent here. But yeah, it's kind of an unknown part of the story that's yet to be filled in. But yeah, I got some trees in there, you know, just a nice verticality to it. A little suggestion that there are some traps built into this. Those should probably be a little bit closer to the surface. There's also a small caved area down beneath, just to have a little bit of this kind of side space, a little cut through the chunk of terrain, you know, to actually have something in it. And then the second to newest area is my jungle area back there. So this uses the top part of my old original jungle tree, which from my previous layout was much taller. Had to cut down its height a little bit here, but got it to fit in, gave it a little bit more decoration. And you can see on the back wall, I've got a little bit of sky and also an approximation of the sun. You can also see where the minecart track goes uphill, kind of at the periphery between these two biomes. Here's a look at it from the other side. So you see some of the minecart track kind of goes through the hill. It actually does that a couple of times. Of course, in the real Minecraft, you don't have curved tracks like this, but like I said, it's Lego. You have to make some decisions. Closer to you here, you've got that one block, actually 2 blocks that are just suspended in air, as sometimes happens when generation occurs. And there's just a poor cow that's stuck up there that will never despawn, it looks like. But I got some kind of simulations of some fern in there, and you saw the ocelot on the other side that's being tamed by somebody who has some fish. And you got the little minecart track with the minecart train here. Minecarts are able to go forward and backwards. That's been well demonstrated. You know, there are limited situations for either. Usually folks just push with them, but they can be used to pull. But I'm just happy to have one in here, and I've got Steve in there, and I got a little cart on the other, or a small chest on the other side, and this is able to actually go around. I had to have multiple cars on this in order to allow it to, for instance, there it goes, actually go down the hill a little bit without falling off, because it's a little bit awkward, just the height of this and all, but it works. It works well enough, and you can actually push that all the way around. Got a little bit of lake down here, just a tiny bit of Mushroom Island that's just kind of suggested here that would be off into the area beyond the table. I like the the look of this whole lake area because it looks like it has a little bit of depth to it. Used a little bit different coloring around the edges. Got a couple little boats there, some sugar cane, and I guess I might as well, while we're over here, look at the rest of the terrain from the back. Got a tennis steve there, and also cut through into a kind of caved area where more of the minecart track comes around and goes through here. Previously, when I first built this corner section here, you couldn't see the back because it was up against a wall. Now that this corner is actually exposed, you can see a little bit of the shaping back here, which is better, I think, to have it, actually shaped up a little bit rather than just completely cut through and maybe showing some ore. The only bad thing here is that it's not thick enough to prevent any gaps from showing at all. So you see just a little bit of light coming through there. But looking at this from just a little bit different angle there, you can see how the minecart track actually curves around, and some stuff that you would expect to see in this type of terrain, as well as something you might not expect to see in this type of terrain or anything in Minecraft at all. Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie does what Spider Pig does. I just had to put that in there. It was just too easy to make that happen. I actually put that in quite some time ago, but I'm still happy with it. The minecart track has an awkward section to it right there, probably a little bit more accurate to the game, but the idea is that the carts would be able to turn and actually end up at the village. This is kind of a mansion that somebody in universe has built. So there's actually a family here that actually lives here, and you got a couple of kids coming up, and the husband's really nice. He's got a flower for his wife and everything. We've got a hot tub up here. It's 2 stories, and this is actually detailed on the inside. I think I did a separate video on that at some point. And then coming around here a little bit closer to the village, kind of like the back of the village, which is partially generated, partially not. I got some more action going on here. I've brought in some of the pieces of the Minecraft skin packs officially from Lego. You'll see some of those parts used on some of these characters, some of the actual player figures around there. That's one tree that I didn't make, or I didn't design. And then that just takes us into the whole village area, which is really dominated by this church. And I also did a separate video on that. Another new thing that I've added into this area, which is probably the least complete area that I have on this layout, probably needs the most work yet, is this blacksmith. I just quickly threw together a custom blacksmith because I wasn't satisfied with the official Lego one that they made in the village set. Sorry about hitting the camera there, but ideally this would need to be a little bit larger to work more properly and to fit both windows with the spacing on the back as well. See, it's just off a little bit, but I didn't want to make it any larger than this. This was the size that I limited myself to because I want to add more buildings eventually. But I'm more happy with that than I was with the original Lego designed one. However, I did learn a lot during the process about why they made some of their design decisions, because you think that Lego would translate to Minecraft and vice versa very easily. However, they really don't. The scales are very different. Lego bricks are not cubic, and making them cubic requires an just a ridiculous number of parts to kind of make up for their size. Also, figures are not scaled the same as Minecraft characters. So building in Lego Minecraft is a little bit more challenging or expensive than it would seem. I've added in some of the newer flowers. Got some lilac back there. That looks pretty good to me. And my old nether portal, my first tree that I ever made, which looks really awkward. Some trees will actually, or some items will overlap between 2 biomes, and that's the desert area. A little tough to get myself to squeeze in under here. Let me see if I can actually bring the camera around to show you the back. Yeah, just a little hint of the fact that there's a buried desert temple there, and this lady here is doing a little bit of excavation of that. You can see it's daytime, so Some of these poor characters are starting to catch on fire. This is something that I did early, Desert Well. I will need to remake that because I'm not happy with the proportions of it, but it looks okay for now. It's got the tower that leads up to the area above the world, and also hanging from above is the dragon. Well, why is that here? This is not the end. Well, I guess he broke out of his world and he's made it over to the overworld. You know, like I said, it's part of this is made up, so why not? I wanted to have something in the sky there. I wanted to use the dragon. It's a modified version of the official Lego one with, you know, much better looking wings, and it's also much larger than the original. I also did a video separately on that. And then lastly, over here is the nether area. Let me reposition for that. This took a ridiculous number of bricks to build, especially with the console bedrock walls as the borders all around. That's all done up in actually dark gray. And then for netherrack, I used sand red, which is a rare color. That magma cube definitely needs to be completely tossed out and redone. That was done freeform without even looking at the reference material, and I can do a lot better job than that. So that needs to be replaced. Got in some of the proper wither skeletons, official ones and semi-official ones. You know, just changed up some small things since I did my full walkthrough video on this. So not a lot has changed around here. It is better lit than before. I've changed out the lights in both of these areas to give me a lot more light. The old lights went to my undersea exploration area, and I just wanted to get that person back there also to be shown. See, this is a zombie actually in a pig outfit looking at or trying to emulate a pig zombie or zombie pig. And I changed out some of these characters as well. That's a made-up baddie, a lava maiden, just because. And more of these poor noobs who thought they knew what they were getting into, who thought they could make it. But I mean, come on, you can't have just wooden implements. I mean, they've got no armor. They're just not ready for this. So they are desperately trying to run back to the portal to get back to the overworld because they need to gear up quite a bit. So there you go. That's my Lego Minecraft area. That's the nether area. And then this is the overworld area. Finally complete kind of in version 1, phase 1. And things only change and hopefully get better from here. Hope that you've enjoyed this journey. Really happy to have finally gotten to some point where I can look at all of it and just explain what's there rather than explaining what's not there. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.